What up, my guys? What's up? What's up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. Y'all know what's up, man. We here. It's the Shark is back today. Money in the Shark. We here to get some cash, man. Try to cash these tickets. What's up, my guy? You good?
Doing well. Fresh off a podcast last night. 1-1 on the card. As I said, the flag behind me let me down. A useless Knicks effort, 119-93. Inexplicable loss, really across all narrative and numerical points. But we're not worried about that. It is March 3rd, 2021. Second to last day of the first half of the season. I was just saying it to our man, Wham. Thanks for his interaction on Twitter. I can't believe how fast this first half has gone. I mean, really, I feel like we were just starting up right before Christmas, right, John?
Yeah. I mean, it went pretty fast. I'm glad, man. After the AllStar break, we know these teams really gonna lock in. Most of them really gonna lock in, make playoff pushes. So it's really gonna be, you know what I'm saying, get to going. The preseason, the glorified preseason, I guess you could say, is over. But yeah, Wham, that's my guy, man. We got to get him. I got to get my guy to come on the channel here with me, man. One of these days, whenever he's ready, man. You know what I'm saying, send him a link. That's my guy there. We go way back. Him and DJ Big Boss. Those are my guys there. Yeah. What's up, Laura? I see everybody in the chat, man. We appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all retweet on Twitter if you can, man. Y'all share the show wherever, Facebook, if y'all can, man. Just go to the share and, you know what I'm saying, share wherever. It'll go a long way with us. I know my earlier show, SBR got cut off because of a little internet situation, whatever. But hey, here to break down some games, man. Try to come up with a couple of plays. I know wait till, you know what I'm saying. Obviously, yesterday I had the Clippers. Kawhi ended up getting announced out later in that game. I really think that the Clippers were the right side in that game. Still was in it, had a lead at halftime. They couldn't get the Celtics. Obviously, got it done full game. Had a little something on the Hawks and had a little something on the Suns, my guys. So, but I'm still pissed over that Clippers game. But it happens, guys. When you make a play early in the day, it happens. Yeah, and the Derrick Rose, he was out last second for the Knicks. So, I mean, Devin Booker had got ejected. Some players tried to mess with that. Let's see, Marcus. If you like the Lakers yesterday, Gasol was ruled out. Let's see. Kyle Kuzma was a real late scratch, so it was kind of tough. I was glad because I was on the Suns, but like I say, sometimes it goes with you, sometimes it goes against. It happens, my guy. But what's up with you, bro? What first game you're gonna go to today?
Well, I think we're going away from the street gamble. We're going to the primetime spot, and I made a comment on Twitter. I wish there was a flex option. Of course, that has to be built into the TV contract. Unfortunately, Nets Rockets preseason, you would have thought, okay, this is going to be a really entertaining game. It's definitely not. We do get, however, the Utah Jazz visiting the Philadelphia 76ers in a freezing cold March 3rd, 2021 night. However, this bet will be very hot inside of the stadium. I need my man Bryce Harper back in there, banging the Liberty Bell, giving us the energy. Fans will be back soon. But my top play of the day, Philly +4. And I think what you're looking at here is you're looking immediately at a revenge game. They did lose by 11 in Utah. Utah was laying 8.5, 9 in that position. This comes in at 3.5. That's a 6-point gap. That is moving down more than the average 3, as we always say. It's speaking numerically to Philly. I mean, look at what Philly's doing. They're just a juggernaut at home, period. And we were just saying off the record, people are going to attach to Utah here, awful loss, et cetera, et cetera. However, Utah was just filthy hot, way too hot. They covered, 15 straight games, 18 straight games. And I say it every day. Were they really destined to cover 40 straight? Probably not. So just because they just lost one doesn't mean they're going to automatically bounce back. If anything, just from an absolute zoom-out numerical perspective, they should keep coming down in terms of really back to a more normalized average here. So I think when you really look at it, this is really a box checker for Philly tonight.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, so last game when these two teams played, so let's see, Joel Embiid didn't end up playing in that game. I remember it went all the way up to 8.5. The 76ers were still in that game. They were up 7 at the end of the first quarter. They were, you know what I'm saying, down by 6 at the half, but they were in that game pretty much fighting tooth and nail without Joel Embiid with a pretty much decimated roster. Ben Simmons and company had to try to get it done there, but still they came, they fought, they showed that they can stay with this team. It all starts with defense. We know the 76ers are one of the better defensive teams in the league. They are at the house, home dog. The Jazz are off of a loss here, my guys. It doesn't really, I can't say it makes it a little bit scary, but they just lost to the Pelicans, who's not really a great defensive team, not really a great offensive team as well. I think that the 76ers, in my opinion, are stronger on both sides of the ball than the Pelicans. So that just speaks volumes to what my guy's saying there. If the Jazz are just a little bit on the downswing, and I said it as well, bro, once they left the house, we got to remember they were at the house for a boatload of those games, like 7-8 8 games in a row at the house, of course you're going to get hot. You step out away from the arena, especially for a long period of time, and you're on the East Coast as well. You're playing a lot earlier games. You're not in your own environment, same schedule. Yeah, I like Philly here with you. I'm gonna ride with you on that one. 76ers plus 3.5, my guy.
And one more point about that game, of course, as you said, no Embiid and a couple of different roster moves in and out of that window. Philly was on a 4-game trip, and they were coming in here off of a couple wins, I believe, at that point in time. So there was definitely a letdown factor. And, of course, there's always the altitude factor. It's largely spoken about long term, but it's difficult to play at that extra altitude, just fitness-wise. And I think you saw it defensively. They gave up 134 points in that game. Jordan Clarkson was 8 for 13. He went off. That's way above what he's going to do tonight. And when you look at what Philly does when they really play effective basketball, it's their defensive rating. They're the top 5 in defensive rating in the league. Of course, this is Doc Rivers. This is throwback to 2008, Kevin Garnett, Celtics basketball. He wants to slow the game down. He wants to bludgeon you defensively, and he wants to just take it to you. And I think you're going to see a reversal of that. I always talk about how the total correlates to the line. The total's coming down too. I think it's 226, 227, 228. It's speaking to a slower pace game. It speaks to what Philly wants to do here in terms of the pace of the game and how they want to win this game. And I think really it's just an absolute box checker here for Philly tonight.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think the total coming down though. It opened up at 226.5 and then got bet up. It did get bet up to 230, and so it's come down to 229. So it got bet up and then come back down a point. But it did.
It's just a point of that. I'm just making a point off of the previous outcome in Utah.
Okay, got you. Now I thought you were saying this. I'm like, what you mean by that? No, but you're right. Got you. Hey, I'm with Philly here, man. So I'm with you here, like the 76ers, my guy. Let's go to another game here, bro. Let's go to this Nets versus Rockets game. Like I said, this is a real intriguing game, in my opinion, man. I know the Rockets have been on a slide here. They've lost 12 straight games, 11 ATS in their time period. I'm kind of intrigued by this game because this is a super high total. I mean, the guys are. This is one where they're starting to bet it up now, guys. It's starting to be some value on the Rockets here. I know that this isn't a spread where they have to win the game. This is simply a game where they just simply have to come to play. And I do think they will. They're facing James Harden. This is somewhat their Super Bowl of the season. It's hard to to swallow that pill with the Rockets here, but plus double digits at the house, you know what I'm saying, off these lackluster efforts. The last game before the, you know what I'm saying, AllStar break, whatever. I actually like the Rockets kind of keep this one close, man. Double digits. I wouldn't be surprised to see some crazy shenanigans in this game, guys. Maybe a few calls going towards all the money is on the Nets here. I think the narrative is there for the Rockets plus the points at the house. Call me crazy, my guy.
I'm not calling you crazy. I'm not going to be on this game in any format. I do think when you see just how the Rockets have played game and game again, they just – it's kind of bizarre. I really don't understand how Oladipo and John Wall are not meshing a little bit better. I'm not sure if it's a generational thing. I'm not sure if one, they're just not moving the ball. One guy's a little bit too ball heavy. I don't know. It's just not clicking. And we always talk about Jay Silas as well, not really juicing them up, not really necessarily getting them all focused and energized. And truly, when you lose that many games in a row, there's something going on in the locker room. I mean, these are professional athletes. We say within every sport, these guys walk into the locker room. If they're not able to get it together to win at least 1 out of 10 games against some bad teams, too, Cleveland twice, something is really disconnected there. And that's where I just can't really sanction them. As much as I agree with you, this is really a good fade spot of the Nets tonight, who are a little too hot. And, of course, this is a huge emotional letdown type of environment against an awful team. It just comes down to the fact that I just feel like this team is highly disconnected, and they might not be able to bring it regardless of the environment.
Gotcha. Yeah, and Wall and Oladipo, they actually hadn't played a ton of games together. It's been one or the other out, or they've been playing some sort of back-to-back. So actually, that game versus the Cavs was the first time that Wall and Oladipo have actually played together in a little while. We know they're still missing Wood. I was real interested. I wanted Wood to come back to this game, man. He swore up and down that he was going to be back before AllStar break started. So it doesn't look like he's going to be back, but still, man. Obviously, so a couple of other injuries here. Daniel House Jr. really did have a knee injury last game. I would be saying he's closer to doubtful here, but Eric Gordon, you're definitely going to need him off the bench with some threes. I can't tell you, like I say, if there's any game that the Rockets will get up for and really go out and try to win or act like they care, because I know that, I mean, they're millionaires over there. They're still collecting checks. If there's any game that they really want to have a fuck you to Harden, this is their game, you know what I'm saying, facing them, the Nets in your house, you're getting double digits. I could only touch the Rockets here, guys, full games. I know everybody and their mom is on the Nets here. The Granny, everybody is on them. You could have got it at 6.5 this morning. Why are you betting the Nets -10 now when it's already been betting up? All the value is gone, guys. So, like I said, if it's getting to 11, I will be putting something on the Rockets personally. I do think that this is a game where they'll really come to play. May not win it, but I do think that it'll be a close game. I mean, it's on national TV. They don't want this game to be. I'm not gonna say they don't want it to, but I don't see this game being a 30-point blowout easily like everybody does. National TV game. I think you'll see the best effort for the Rockets here, my guy.
I believe their last cover. I haven't looked at this, but I believe it was at Philly a little while back on a similar number.
Yep,
they backdoored it, and of course
they were.
This is not necessarily going to be a 4-quarter effort. They could easily be down 15-20 the whole game and just get there in the last 3 minutes of the game. But I think what you're saying, when that opens at 6.5, that's a very short figure, very short. And we always talk about the averaging of the books. Books are not really just giving you a free handout here, long term at least. So it's a short number for Brooklyn. Be aware of that if you're on Brooklyn. It's definitely the public side there, and for good reason, of course. But
I'm gonna tell you something, guys. Just the last point. I was kind of waiting for this game and intrigued what the number was. And I was when they opened at 6, I said, no, this gonna get bet all the way. I think it's going a little too far, guys. 10.5. I'm sorry, this is too many points here. I actually like the Rockets to keep this one then 5, 6, 7 points. It called me crazy, but the NBA that I know, the Rockets could win this game, guys. Like, no bullshit. If they really come to the NBA that I know, you saw the Nets last game. They're kind of sort of starting to run out of it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of go down the hill without KD. They almost lost versus the Spurs. I was on them, but you let them get a 10-0 run to make it go into overtime. The Nets actually deserved to lose that game. Came and covered for you and I in overtime. I appreciate them, but I'm just saying, my guys, Rockets are nothing for me. But it's just it's not official play though, my guys. I'm not gonna go an official way, but I do like the Rockets here. Let's talk about this Hawks versus Magic spot, my guy. We both cashed in with the Hawks yesterday. No Jimmy Butler, he didn't end up playing. Be interested to see if Capella, he is listed questionable here. Also on the flip side, Evan Fournier is listed questionable with some knee soreness for the Magic. So if Fournier doesn't play here, man, I'm sorry. It has to be Hawks or nothing. What you think about him here on back-to-back nights?
Well, I believe going back 2 years ago, Orlando pretty much owned the Hawks. And you do see this. I always take it to different environments. Like right now, New Orleans just owns Memphis. It doesn't matter what the number is or what stadium they're playing in. But last year it did flip. Atlanta did beat them and cover the first two. I think Orlando did cover the second two. So I think they split 2-2 straight up at ATS last year. That being said, I think when we zoom in on tonight's environment, it is very tough to figure out. Because obviously we got the new coach bump last night. And now we get the back-to-back, and I believe 3rd and 4 for the Hawks, which is just their kryptonite spot energy-wise. Always has been in this Trae Young era. It doesn't really matter where they're playing. And, of course, you do get this continued buy factor on Orlando. And I can't make a side here in any sort of sanctioned way, but I do think, as a real loose comment, out of all the numbers on the board tonight, this 3.5 is really in the hover zone. I think you're going to be sweating this no matter what side you wager here.
Got you. Yeah, no, you're right. Y'all know me, man. If Fournier's out for the Magic, they already been on the tailspin. I can't tell you they've somewhat owned the Hawks here in recent history, guys. They have somewhat owned them, but this is a little bit of a different year. It looks like Bogdanovich is going to give it a go here on back-to-back. He only played like 15, 16 minutes last night. So I was thinking, is he going to go on back-to-back? But he didn't play that many minutes. So sometimes, even though it is in theory a fatigue spot for the Hawks, one thing you really have to remember that they had fired their coach. Some of the young guys really weren't meshing well with him, so they could get some of a little shot of energy with the new coach. You really saw it last night. They held the Heat to 80 points, had their best defensive game of the season. So it's kind of I'd be leaning Hawks hadn't made a play on this game. Obviously, Fournier is a huge player here, guys. I'm telling you, in or out, that really could sway your decision. In, I can understand you liking the Magic. Out, there's no way you actually have to look towards the Magic. Is just that simple. Without Fournier, there are light years different, guys. Light years.
Yeah,
so
I think again, it's just really tough because we are in such a new environment with Nate McMillan at the helm, and obviously interim. But I could see him getting hired. To be honest, I think he's a very competent NBA coach.
Yeah.
And last night, interestingly enough, I believe he sat John Collins the entire fourth quarter for defensive purposes, and they played incredibly solid to I would say excellent defensive ball. And I think some of these little in-game roster moves in terms of how many minutes these guys are going to get and what quarters they play with different groups is really going to change the Hawks element here. But again, just not knowing how they're going to function here in a 3rd and 4th back-to-back, which regardless of a coaching change could still be a fatigue spot.
Exactly. Yeah, the Hawks are actually a good team, guys. They've had a lackluster year, and that's one of the reasons why they really had to go to coaching change, because this team is too good of a roster for them to be playing as bad as they are. So it's one of those things where they had a good roster, they have the players over there, but the coaching, everything has to line up, guys. The coaching wasn't there, so you can't really see the players over there flourish or get their full potential. He wasn't getting the full potential out of their team, guys. So it's just one of those things. Roster-wise, the Hawks are actually a good team. They just weren't getting the potential. It'll be interesting to see what's up with some late injuries, Dylan. Like I say, Capella questionable, Fournier. I think Ennis is out for sure for the Magic. So there's a couple of moving parts there. Let's go to this Bulls versus Pelicans game, my guy. Bulls versus the Pellies. Another little revenge spot here. Even though the Bulls, they off a couple losses, one of the best covering teams in the league this year. I think 4th best ATS. They're up there though. The Pelicans, they're coming off a huge win versus the Jazz. Be interested if they have a letdown. This is a revenge spot, like I say, versus the Bulls. They took the loss last time out. What you think about this one, my guy?
I was laughing because I was just thinking how we mentioned before we came live how there's just so much merge to all these games. I really wanted to take the Pelicans here in the revenge spot. Obviously lost, I think, by 13 on the road. I think they lost pretty convincingly. They just played a really poor game at Chicago. The number there was, I believe, -2.5. New Orleans, this comes in at -5.5. That converse to the Utah gap, that is exactly where normalized averages should be. 3 moving towards the home environment. One lean, and I haven't really gone numerically through this, but I wanted to take Chicago first half here. Chicago does come in here off of 2 straight home losses, and they do catch New Orleans, as you just said, off a gigantic win against the Jazz. And just take it back to some recent history. When the Pelicans did beat the Celtics 120-115 in overtime, which we had correctly going back, I believe, 2 weeks ago on a Saturday or a Sunday, they did play, not coincidentally, a middle to below average Central Division team at home the next game, Detroit Pistons. And they came out flat. They were down 6 points in the first quarter. They were down 5 at the half. They did end up playing a big second half to push or cover. But I do think, given the fact that Chicago's lost 2, going on the road, and the play-down factor off the Jazz win, I think Chicago first half could be a solid lean here.
Got you. Hey, that's a nice little spot, man. I didn't have anything in the game. It could be a real letdown spot for the Pelicans. We know that they're a fickle team like that. They'll have a really good win and then come out there and shit the bed. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bulls cover this one, possibly win it. I do think that the Pelicans are a good team. They've just been so inconsistent, guys. Just be interested to see if they keep that momentum going or they have a total letdown here. So,
one final point on this. I believe, I don't have the schedule in front of me. I think this is the last game of the first half for Chicago tonight. So I think they're going to leave it all out there. And I think New Orleans plays tomorrow.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. And so that's always something to pay attention to as well. I was just going to mention that. Just be interested to see how these teams come out that have a game tomorrow. Yeah, the Pelicans have a game versus the Heat tomorrow. So yeah, it's actually not a good spot. I mean, they could actually possibly. So one of these nights they're resting somebody. They're not going balls to the wall back to back right before the All-Star break. So Zion. One of these games, Steven Adams, somebody. This is the reason why I wait till the last second, especially with these type of games. Unless it's somebody that's really motivated, and we know that they're coming for sure. This one, when it's the first game of that back-to-back, they could be looking ahead, all types of stuff here. So it's a damn good point there. The Pelicans do play the Heat tomorrow. Could be a huge sandwich spot. The Bulls up to 5.5 now, 5.5 off the couple losses. Hey, it's maybe not a bad look, my guy.
And that is confirmed, right? This is the final game of the first half for Chicago tonight.
Yeah. They don't play. They don't play tomorrow. So yeah.
If you're ever going to leave it out there, I mean, you got a week off, and a lot of these guys are not going to the All-Star game from Chicago.
Exactly. That's another thing that you want to mention. That's a good mention as well. Pay attention to guys that's not in the All-Star break.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to go through it a little bit deeper, and I will post that if I finalize. But it would be Chicago first half. I think the top look here.
Levine did make the All-Star, right, though. He is going to make, it was an injury. I think it was somebody it was a little injury or whatever. I think KD. So Levine will be in the All-Star activities, but just still something to pay attention to for guys that don't have anybody in there. But let's go. What you want to go to? We got 4 other games out here. I'm not messing with that Hornets versus Timberwolves.
Let me look here. Let me pull it up. Okay. Detroit, Toronto. I have absolutely nothing. What about Charlotte, Minnesota? Do you have anything there?
Yeah, that's the one I was just saying right now that I don't have much on it. If Hayward was out, Hayward and Zeller were still going to be out the last game of the long road trip. I was going to be looking towards back in Minnesota. I know everybody's on the Horns today. It's a crazy game. Let me just tell you, the Timberwolves have still been losing all of these. They've lost pretty much every game. The couple games as well after having their new coach. Now they've had a couple of days off, you know what I'm saying, some time to get some practice in, come back to the house. If there was ever a spot for them to get their first win, it would be against the Hornets here. I think it's the fifth game of their this is the sixth game of their road trip, their first elongated road trip of the year. 6 game in 6 days, a 6 game in 10 days for the Hornets, all on the road. In theory, this would be because this is one where I do think the odds makers, if they had Timberwolves -1 opening up, then it went to -1 for the Hornets or whatever. Then the Hayward news up to 3. I know Hayward's just their best player, but still the rest of the team in theory is still just this huge fatigue spot. Lean Timberwolves, but I'm not messing with it. If Hayward's out, I would have been on the Wolves for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was looking at it. Minnesota did lose by 6 points in Charlotte going back a little while back, and it was on a similar figure. It was in 1 or 2 buckets of the money line figure. It's just tough because obviously you do want to take the L8. They're going to win a game at some point, and as you said, it probably would come against a lower tier team, scattered emotionally in a really fatigued spot. The only thing that I'm worried about here is just the fact that without Beasley, they've just been pathetic. I mean, their starters have been useless, and you're relying on the second unit. You're relying on a lot of fringe G League type of guys. And you do get Charlotte coming in here off of a loss, which, of course, you had correctly against Portland. Portland covered that with authority in the second half. So you do get a bit of a buy low on Charlotte. And I don't know how much you can necessarily say it's quantifiable to ultra fatigue, because that was their fatigue spot against Portland. Now they travel. They get what, like 48 hours of rest roughly off that game, maybe 36 to 40. And they come back in here, and Minnesota, again, just doesn't really compete, doesn't really bring a lot of physicality. So I think they could come through here and cover it anyway. But again, I don't really like fading the LA, the revenge spot, and the whole thing. It's just a merge for me.
My guy over here mentioning one player, my guy that likes to zoom out of games and not take the roster moves too much. Hey, I'm just saying. Nah, I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean. Beasley, obviously, they've been the best different player, a different team without Beasley, but I usually notice stuff like that. You're usually the one to zoom out. But, yeah, to be honest with you, Shark, this is one where I think, because if we look at it the last game, and I had to look into it deeper, because Beasley, obviously, he's going to be missed. He had, I think he had 31 points in the last game, so he was the leading scorer, or one of the leading scorers. Him and Towns were the ballers for in that game versus Charlotte. But you got to look deeper. Graham, Hayward, and Zeller all played in that game as well. So Devontae Graham is out for sure. You can almost kind of say that's somewhat even with Beasley. Zeller still banged up. Not sure if he's going to play. Or Hayward is in. His hand's hurt. He got a right hand contusion. Maybe he's not 100%, but still, all 3 of those guys were playing, and then Beasley's the only playing. Beasley was the only guy that's not playing for Timberwolves. So I do think it's somewhat of a wash. I don't know if the Hornets should be laying 3 on the road here, guys. That's the only thing I'm saying. I know Hayward's in, but when you're just looking at the line, period. So what? They were laying 4 at the house last time. Now they're laying 3 on the road, and it's the last game of the road trip. No, in my opinion, that's not the right. I know that the Hornets could come out here and win this game, but shouldn't be laying 3 on the road here, in my opinion. That's the only thing that I'm saying. But let's talk about this number. Let's talk about OKC versus Dallas. Luka is listed doubtful here. You got the Thunder hat on. What do you think now that Luka's out?
Well, I had this on originally as the fade hat. But, of course, we do have the roster sketchiness going down. That all being said, even if Luka doesn't play, I do think Porzingis and the role players really could show that upside, because, this does happen. We always talk about it. A man named Sean Puffy Combs, hailing from New York, does frequent locker room in the NBA specifically, and I think he could be making a trip to Dallas tonight, Dallas-Fort Worth area, the visitors' locker room. There could be some Ciroc on ice and some frozen flamingo luges. And that all being said, really, if we're being serious, we like to joke a little bit. We like to have fun. We appreciate you guys for watching, of course, every day. We're going to be coming back here, I think, 5 days a week after the AllStar break in a much more regulated fashion time-wise. But that being said, with KP and the boys, I don't mind laying here at 3.5 anyway. And I think that Dallas has continued the upward movement, which we suggested they would show. And it had to cluster because they were so bad. They had to be so good to get back to their average. I think it could continue here tonight. I think there's a lot of points for Dallas here tonight.
Yeah, now the Mavs have been playing really hot, guys. I can't tell you that. I was taking this long hard look at this one at the Thunder plus the points without Luca. I taking a look at just at the rosters, guys. I know that the Thunder can ball, but they're still, in my opinion, they're a really good team. They're really strong road dogs. This is one if you liked it, maybe you know what I'm saying. It opened up at 8 for the Mavs, and then it's down to 4, 3.5 now. I kind of feel like you're missing out on the value. The Mavs, the way that Brunson has been balling, he can kind of come out here and step in for Doncic. I know he's the best player on the team by far, but still, Jalen Brunson's been playing out of his mind. You're still going to look right as of now. You're still going to have Josh Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber out there, Porzingis. They still have a formidable team, guys. Tim Hardaway Jr. coming off the bench, Powell, Trey Burke. These still guys got some ballers out here. If they can come out here and play defense and bring that stifling defense against OKC, who's not already a great offensive team, I could see the Mavs still coming out here and win the game. Could be it's two ways they can come out. Let's show we can win without Luka and still show that we're real, you know what I'm saying, a great team and that we're playing well, or they could just be like, oh, we're ready for AllStar Break and just really just tanking the Thunder, go out here and beat them by 15 to 20. So I could literally see either one. I stayed off this game. I was this close to taking the Thunder plus the points, got to looking at it deeper. The Mavs still have a good enough squad to beat them by 5 to 6 points. My God, that's the way I'm looking at it.
I look back just to see recent history, you know, not necessarily a direct corollary, but division opponents at home, similar line numbers. Memphis, 102-92 cover. And I think that Oklahoma City coming here, they do play at Oklahoma City, I believe, to open the second half. That would be the revenge spot for Oklahoma City. So I think that, again, just looking at it, again, not like your ultra ringer play, but I think Dallas much more of a lean here, and then you get the Oklahoma City potential revenge spot next week.
Got you. We've got a couple more games: Lakers versus Kings and Warriors versus Blazers. What you think about that Lakers versus Kings real quick with LeBron out? Do you think he's worth 10 points?
To be honest, like, you know, especially because these winning Wednesday cards are gigantic. I didn't go deep on this one. I saw the number. I'm not laying 3.5 with the Kings. Of course, LeBron's out. Sketchy motivation. Do the Lakers reserves play better? Does Sacramento let down? Sacramento's been ice cold. Maybe they show out. I really just have no lean in this game at all. I don't like this number or any narrative point here either side.
Gotcha. Yeah, Halliburton. I might even would have gave the Kings a look if they had Halliburton here off the bench, guys. I'm not laying points. The Kings should not be laying points right now. I'm not saying that they won't win the game. Obviously, Lakers on the they on the what? It's a back-to-back spot. You should already know LeBron wasn't playing a back-to-back right before the All-Star game, and he has to play in the All-Star game. So just be interesting to see. Marc Gasol was out last night as well, so for health and safety protocol, so he's not going to be in here. Be interested if Kuzma comes back today, though. If Kuzma comes back, just be interested. Let's see. You'll be looking at Schroeder, KCP, THT, Markieff Morris, and Harold Morris went out the game yesterday. I think Morris went. No, that was for the Clippers. It was his brother. It was his twin brother that went out. So right. This twin's good. Morris, Harold. Let's see, Kuzma, Caruso, Matthews. If I had a free play on it, I'd probably still be taking the Lakers. I don't think that the Kings, they really have to put it in something like, okay, this is our time to blow out the Lakers. Like, they'd have to be coached up, motivated. I don't know. If they lose this game, they could probably they might fire Luke Walton. I keep saying this, but what do you think? You lose to the Lakers without LeBron and AD. Is it time to get fired then?
God, I mean, we said it like 4 games in a row, and it's just like –
They had won one of them, though. So they won one of them that kept them from losing, I think, like 10 or 11 in a row. So I think that's the one that saved them versus the Pistons.
Yeah. At Detroit, they covered it by 1 point, I believe. Unbelievable. But yeah, so last game on the slate, Golden State at Portland. Initial lean here was Golden State, I believe. Pretty solid figure here at -1.2. Go back to the beginning of the season. The first game of the year at home for the Warriors, they had come off of, I believe, a 4-game sequence to open the year on the road. And they came back, first game, no fans, and got blown out by Portland by like 35, 40 points or something ridiculous. And then in the revenge game, the next game, I'm not sure if it was a direct back-to-back, but it might have been 2 nights later, Steph Curry went off. That was the game he had 60 points, and the Dubs blew them out. So now you come in here, third matchup of the year, it's hard to figure out. You don't really have a representative effort. Like, if these teams face each other in a 7-game series, it's not going to be every game is a 35-point blowout. It's actually probably going to come back to more of the normalized average and be a tight one, I would suggest. I don't really love fading Portland here in the revenge spot. They are the ones who got blown out by 35 when Steph scored 60 plus or whatever. So revenge factor Portland, numerically leaning towards Dubs. Dubs just got blown out at LA. It's good buy low there. It's really just another merge spot for me. We've been saying it for the last half an hour. This is just a tough card. There's just not a lot of spots that are checking every box. There's great counter narratives to most of these games tonight.
Yeah, and it is not even it. It's right before the AllStar break, and you got a lot of sketchiness, really teams. And there's another thing, like the Thunder, I was thinking about it. You don't really have a lot to play for. When you don't have a lot to play for and it's finna be AllStar break, you're finna go on vacation. You see what I'm saying? Nobody's going to the All-Star game. So that's what kept me off the Thunder. Not a whole lot of motivation. I mean, maybe trying to steal one, but not a lot of motivation. So this is what we have here. The Blazers and the Warriors faced off a couple times in Golden State, in California earlier this year. The Blazers smacked them in the first game. You know what I'm saying? I think I was on the Blazers in that game. Very next game, Warriors revenge. They come out there and smack them. But you got to look at it a little bit deeper. The Blazers had all their guys then. What I mean by all their guys, they had a full squad. They weren't missing two starters. They had CJ McCollum and Nurkic for both of those games. They at that point they matched up really well with the Warriors. Right now, I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, especially with the Warriors having Wiseman and Looney back, this is a different Warriors team. They're a lot better defensive team. They're playing a lot better than they were because early in the year when the Blazers played them, the Warriors weren't the same as they are right now. They're playing a lot better defense. They know how to play with each other now, and it's really the opposite. The Blazers are missing Nurkic and McCollum. They know how to play with each other, but they're starting to struggle once again. They're really starting to miss them. It really made me mad that Oubre is questionable in this game. Full squad here. I was going to be on Warriors. I still would look toward them even without Oubre. It'd be lovely to have him out there, perimeter defender. But I do think that this is a Warrior spot. They've had a couple of days off after getting their asses handed to them, my guys. It's Warriors or nothing for me in this spot, my guy. Right into the first game after 2 days off after getting smacked by the Lakers. Yeah. It's a step-up spot.
I agree. And I've been saying it for weeks. Blazers have been way too hot. With the roster issues, they should not have been winning 80% of their games. And people have to be realistic here. And I think that the Warriors would be the lead for me as well. But that's pretty much the full card, right? So, Jay, you got anything official to drop here before we sign off?
No, that's it, man. I'm finna go to my little sports book, my guys. I might come back on here live again if I make another play. But right now, I think I'm just gonna ride with my guy Philly. I'm just putting something small on it, half unit for me. Philly plus 3.5. That's what they got it at my local. I'm gonna ride with that. I'm really close with. I'm seeing what's up with Oubre. I really want to take the Warriors tonight. I think this is a Warriors spot. Bounce back after getting smacked by 30 at the half. I think they come with some. They are like 1-5 last 6 after having 2 days rest. But this is after getting your ass smacked. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lean to the Warriors for me, and I lean to the Timberwolves. Everybody and their mom is on the Hornets tonight with Hayward back. I still think this is a Timberwolves spot, and I know just a couple of props. I'll be looking at Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns both to get 20+ shots tonight. I see both of them possibly getting over their point total. I'm gonna ride with my guy half unit Philly. I really don't like this card, to be honest with you, but I really Philly. I think they can get the job done tonight at the house, get the win. If I'm taking them plus 3.5, I don't think it'll be you know what I'm saying, they win by a couple. I think they get the win. So let's go 76ers, man. I hope Embiid them boys come to play for me. I'm just going half unit though, my guy. What you like?
You said it. I said it. Then you said it. Now I'll say it again. Philadelphia plus 3.5, top play by a mile for me. That's 1 unit for me. Other leans would be Dubs and Chicago first half, with the narrative lean to Dallas as well here.
Got you, man. Hey, that's the show tonight, guys. The show, and the Hawks is down to 2.5 as well. So some money coming in on the Magic. Yeah, so I know the Raptors, they got OG out, Fred VanVleet out, and Siakam out. I was kind of looking. If I was waiting on Jeremy Grant's status, he's the best player, obviously by far for the Pistons. He played well without him, but if Grant was in there, I kind of wanted to look towards Pistons plus the points. I might just stay off of it. It is a tricky card. You know what I'm saying? These this in the regular day where you can kind of take some dogs, or they stay. Some of them, these guys really could be looking towards a little vacation, like a week off. Literally, these guys millionaire, they finna go have some fun, man. So and like we trying to make money off this. They already got guaranteed cheddar. So we know Philly coming to play and gonna have something to prove and got revenge here. They can be bullshitting sometimes versus teams versus the Cavs, but I'm betting that hopefully Tobias Harris comes to play today, gets upgraded to probable, and they're full go Philly tonight, hopefully for the win. 76ers, would they say join us or die? That's Philly's shit. That's their shit up there. So join us.
Jay, you don't want to die.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's what their sign means. Their little snake thing. Yeah, I did a little research. It means join us. That's just how they do it. You know, Philly, city of brotherhood. They got some of the hardest fans up there, bro. So that makes sense. They like either you with us or fuck you. You get or exile him. Send him to exile. That's the show. That's the show today, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like I said, it's Philly right now. I'm super close to Timberwolves and Warriors, my guys. Super close to those guys, to those heavy leans. If I do end up getting one of them, I'll go live again. Yeah, Pacers. I want to take Pacers, guys. Sabonis is likely not going to play. You really need him. I do think he's the best player on their team, but for them. Cavs on the little cluster wins, but I still think this is a little letdown spot for them. Pacers get the job done, but I know I'm not laying there without Sabonis, my guys. We about to get out of here. We appreciate y'all for watching, man. Hit the like button, and we'll be back for sure, man. We'll be back. Maybe not tomorrow because it's even more, even worse card. The last day, but we might go live depending on if we have a play. We're going live, man. So we appreciate y'all. Hit the like button. Share the show if you can on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that, man. We're going. If you know other people that bet NBA, share the show, man. Share the show.